Welcome back, everybody. So glad you could join me on this beautiful Wednesday. You know, the sun is shining. We're at the top of the mountain feeling unbelievable. I hope you can say the same as we spread love, abundance, and prosperity your way as we continue rolling on this 2020, becoming the best possible versions of ourselves. And what we're going to be talking about today is thoughts, analyzing them, understanding them, and then using them if they serve you. So first and foremost, these thoughts that we're having, where do they come from and why do they come up? So we're having tens of thousands of thoughts on a consistent and daily basis. Some of them good thoughts, some of them bad thoughts. For the most part, your thoughts are coming from the habits that you've created and the experiences that you've received and that you have lived up until this point. And so you have to analyze those habits that you have. If they're great habits and they're healthy habits and you want to keep them, then chances are the thoughts that you're thinking are more positive thoughts, right? If they're habits that maybe don't serve you, experiences that you can recall back in the day that really just hurt you and made you ultimately into something that you want to change and become better, chances are those thoughts are not serving you. Now, we don't want to judge those thoughts, and that's what's important. We're having tens of thousands of thoughts on a consistent basis. For us to analyze each one and go, ooh, that's good, ooh, that's bad, ooh, that's good, we're going to drive ourselves crazy. And so really the easiest way to do this is you want to see a thought as it comes in and then analyze it and go, is this thought going to serve me and help me ultimately create more of what I want, or is it not serving me? Is it that thought that I've been having that led to that habit that I have that I ultimately want to change, right? And here's what eventually starts to happen. So your brain works on neural pathways. Neural pathways are consistently being created all the time. This is where habits come from, right? So as you do something on a consistent basis, brush your teeth, go to the gym, talk to certain people, talk a certain way, do certain things, right? What you're doing is you're ultimately reprogramming your brain to harbor that new habit, whether it be good or bad. So you're actually able to create neural pathways, whether they be healthy habits or unhealthy habits, based on those thoughts. Because ultimately what you're doing is, as you're thinking a thought, you're feeding that neural pathway. So as new brain cells are being made, those are being delegated to that neural pathway that you're using on a more consistent basis to ultimately help those thoughts flow more freely, create habits easier, and then ultimately embed them into your subconscious mind so that they become second nature for you. So what's important is when you're analyzing these thoughts, you don't want to judge them, you just want to analyze them. You look at them at face value and go, is this thought helping me become that version of myself that I'm ultimately looking to become, or is it serving me? Because if it is serving me, like attracts like, right? And so if I'm having a positive thought, what that's doing is that's creating more positive thoughts. Now I'm feeding my neural pathways, which is ultimately making the habit of thinking that way and creating that thing even easier for me. And the more I do it, the easier it's going to become. So there's two different ways to program a new habit. You think a thought on a consistent basis through repetition or do a certain thing until it eventually becomes second nature for you, or an emotional response to an event that happens to you, whether that event be good or bad. Now that second one is a lot more challenging. You don't control those high intensity emotion situations. They just pop up and then instantly you change, right? So the easiest way for you to create these new neural pathways is to really just repetition, do something over and over and over again. And this is why it's so important for you to analyze these thoughts and pick it up if it serves you, and if it doesn't, don't judge it, just leave it by the wayside. I'm not going to use this thought, right? So if this thought comes in and ultimately it's helping me become that millionaire that I want to become, or it's helping me get to that ideal weight that I want to be, I'm going to continue to think that thought, because ultimately what I'm doing is I'm feeding my neural pathways, which is allowing more like thoughts to come into my life, which is ultimately creating that habit of going to the gym or implanting that idea or that vision of who I want to become in my subconscious mind, therefore eventually drawing more of that energy to myself and allowing me to become that even easier. And so really as these thoughts come in on a consistent basis, your only job is not to judge them, not to put yourself down as potentially negative thoughts come in, but only to look at them at face value and go, is this going to help me get where I want to go, or is it not going to help me get where I want to go? If it does help me get where I want to go, I'm going to foster that thought. I'm going to take it in, and I'm going to allow it to blossom, right? And attract more of itself to me, as that's going to help me create the neural pathways that lead to the habits, that lead to the success, that ultimately lead to that ideal version of myself that I want to become. So I hope that this video helped you guys. If you haven't already, definitely hit that subscribe button. It's right there. Make sure you hit it. It's right there. Also, bell notification as well. That will notify you anytime that we post new video on the YouTube world. Of course, all of these videos are prefaced on the Facebook page, facebook.com. Karate chop it /The Real Rick Doyle, of course. I hope you guys have a fantastic, blessed, prosperous, and abundant week. I couldn't be more thankful for the support. You guys take care.